Okay, so we've started the recording and we'll record the session. So join later on. Do please feel free to send out the details of this. My name is Matt Ball. I work for Exelsys in the UK and Ireland with my colleague John Stoddart. And I'm running this session today with Sam Eason, who is the CEO of Qintil. So we're going to be talking today about integration between Qintil's learning management system and the Exelsys HR system, and how you can make that experience for setting up training and for users to take training courses digitally online as simple and seamless as possible. So that's the objective for the next 45 minutes to an hour. We're going to start with very, very brief introductions to both of the systems. So I'm going to hand over to Sam now, and he's going to take you through the overview of Qintil. I'm going to do the same for Exelsys, and then we're going to dive right into showing you what the systems look like, where the points of connection are, and how you can make that process and experience very easy for users in the business and also for managers who are scheduling and setting up trainings. Okay, so Sam, I'm going to hand over to you, and if you want to share your screen, then we'll take it from there.
Thank you very much, Matt. Hello, everybody. Hopefully you can see my screen in a minute.
Looking good.
Fantastic. Matt, could you just maybe turn off your sound just so I don't get any echo, if you don't mind?
Absolutely. I will do that right now, and I'll put everyone else in listen-only mode just for the time while we're presenting.
Fantastic. So I just want to give you a little bit of an introduction to Qintil for those of you who don't know or don't use the system at the moment, and introduce you just with a couple of slides to what Qintil is and what we do, some of the features that are core parts of the platform. So Qintil is a learning and compliance management system. It enables businesses to find, deliver, manage training documents like policies and procedures, and right-to-work checks within the online platform. We're made up of 3 different parts to the system. Learning Manager is the core system, which helps organizations deliver their training to users across multiple locations, including from a very small number of users up to thousands of users across multiple locations, teams and departments. I'll show you some of the features of the Learning Manager system when we get into the demo later on. The idea of Qintil is that it's built around what we call the Qintil ID, and this is what makes Qintil unique, and it enables an individual to connect to multiple different learning resources from training providers, education providers, and multiple employers at one time. So and it helps them receive that learning, conduct it in one place, also to view the documents and other items that an organization shares with them, and then to keep it all together in a Qintil achievements folder, which enables you to have all of your complete record of your CPD training and achievements throughout your career in one place, which you can then share with employers when you move jobs or at any time during your career with an individual employer. We also work with learning partners, and we have about 25 learning partners that we work with at the moment, and they are education and course providers who together have around 2,000 courses and also ebooks on the platform, and they're available to individual learners as well as to organizations to download and to run inside their Learning Manager system. Qintil goes a little bit beyond that as well. We have what we call course stores. So there's the Qintil course store, which I'll show you a little bit later on, which includes all the courses from our partners. But then you can also create your own custom course stores, which can be branded, and they can be used for employee self-development. So you can make courses available on the platform, which your users can access, and then share the results of that training with you once they've done it, as well as the training that you make available to them as well. And of course, you can connect to anything with Qintil using our API, which, as well as the Exelsys integration, which we're about to show you, enables you to create integrations with third-party course providers and also with any other system, including online HR systems, CPD systems, and anything else really, which makes it fit nicely with the rest of your tech stack and all the other partners that you work with.
Great
so I'm
stuff.
just going to introduce you to one other feature that we're just building at the moment, which is quite timely. Virtual Classroom is a feature that we're just about to add to Qintil in the next couple of weeks. And it's going to be, as it suggests, an environment online where, a bit like we're doing at the moment, where you can actually run live classrooms and workshops to your team, which means they don't have to be in the same room as you, which, given what's happening at the moment, is quite useful. So you can set up training sessions, present to your team. They can join from their smartphone or tablet or computer, wherever they are. There's going to be live chat interaction with your learners, so they can ask questions or respond with emojis, and they can raise their hand to ask a question as well. You can upload and share documents and files with your learners. There's a virtual whiteboard which you can draw on, and you can explain things in real time. And you can set and follow up with online quizzes and assessments. And users are assigned in Qintil with just like you would with online courses, which I'll show you shortly, and by virtue of their team or department and their location. And we record all the attendance in Qintil as well, with the achievements and certificates generated at the end of a lesson. And that's going to be part of Qintil Learning Manager, which is going to be available later on in the first 2 weeks of April, so quite timely. I'll do a proper run through of Qintil and Learning Manager and the learner experience once we get back into the full demo. But for now, I will hand back to Matt, who can just give you a basic introduction to Exelsys.
Great stuff. Thank you, Sam. One thing that may have happened there is we may have had some muting of Sam's presentation information. So apologies if there are any sound problems, but do drop a line in the chat if you're having any issues and can't hear what's going on. And we will do our best to solve it as we go along. And John Stoddart's on the chat as well to help out if you're having problems with any of that stuff. So I'm going to share my screen now, and then we're going to go on to a quick overview of Exelsys, a background to the system and the business. So Exelsys is an HR platform. Just before I do say this, Sam, are you viewing my screen? Just so I make sure that it's working. Fantastic. So Exelsys is an HR system that's hosted in the cloud, been running since 2010, with a number of hundreds of customers on the platform across a very wide range of countries. We'll talk a little bit about that in a second. Myself and John Stoddart are the channel and sales leads for the UK market. So he and I are on this webinar together today. Exelsys covers a very broad range of HR management and overall training and development capabilities. So you'll see we've got at the bottom, working upwards, we've got standard employee and manager self-service. So everything a user needs day to day to manage their absences and interactions and data surrounding their employment or their contract with a business. Performance management, appraising the progress of those employees and finding out what their colleagues and the individuals themselves should be doing to improve their performance and improve the way that they're delivering on their contracts. We have a recruitment management function, which is an additional module where you can recruit people both online and also as a standard process through candidate management and reviewing of CVs and staging the process for onboarding people. We obviously have training management, which we'll be delving into in more detail as part of this presentation. You can define complex organizational structures and then all of the positions and the assignments of those positions to individuals as you onboard them into the company. And then we have a centralized employee management function where all of that data is then aggregated and it can be viewed in different ways by different people in the business. And finally, we have a very comprehensive absence management and sick leave management solution, including the ability to schedule shifts and then work out exactly who's doing what and when within teams, so that companies don't experience a shortfall in the personnel required to run critical functions in their businesses. There are a few key values that Exelsys focuses on. So one is the ease of use, especially for that day-to-day user, an employee out in the field or working from stores, as we do with some of our clients in the retail sector, where people need to be able to access from either a mobile native app, an iOS or Android, for example, or through a light interface, which is via a web browser. So ease of use is very much central to the system. Ease of implementation, so many of our implementations are delivered within 5 and 30 days, dependent on the level of complexity, but configuration can be done extremely rapidly. And we have a templated model for that to get things out of the door as quickly as possible using standards based on our experience over many projects with our partners. Confidentiality and security are very important when you're handling lots of sensitive data around employees. The platform is hosted in Microsoft Azure. It's built entirely on the Microsoft stack, GDPR compliant, and has been audited and heavily focused on ensuring that the data is secure and that it's managed in accordance with the new regulations. And finally, low cost of ownership. So we operate a partnership network, and by delivering the product and the associated services and configuration through our partner network, that's how we manage to make the system very much an affordable option with a very, very broad and powerful set of functionality for the price point. We are a specialist in international delivery, so we have many customers who operate across lots of different time zones and geographies and languages. We support well over 20 languages in the system, which the user can select themselves, so you can have many people working on their native language regardless of where they're based in the world. And so we're very much a leader in that field. And we have a number of integrations as well across the Microsoft stack, across Google Apps, and through payroll systems. And as you would expect, the Qintil LMS was the one that we're showcasing today. So we're very proud of the partnership we've got with Qintil and the development that's being put into making the systems work seamlessly together. We did talk momentarily ago around the mobile user interface. I'm going to go into that in more detail shortly. We have dashboards, which we'll take a quick look at, that provide real-time data that can be sliced and diced. And then for customers that want to go deeper into their data, there are many tiers of reporting capability, from tabulated tables through to Power BI, real-time dashboards, which can be sliced and diced in any which way. So there's a huge amount of control and power within the system for getting very deep management data out of Exelsys. You'll see here a few of the countries the business operates in, and also a number of the market sectors. So it's a very horizontal requirement, as you would expect. And so we've got customers from right across the board in many different industries. And finally, here are a few examples of the clients that we've got on the system, which we can talk about in more detail in separate follow-up calls, and we'll be delighted to talk you through some of the use cases that we've deployed. So I'm going to hand back now to Sam. I'm going to unshare myself, and then Sam, I will hand over to you, and you can jump back into the overview of the Qintil system.
Fantastic. Okay, so we are in Learning Manager, and this is the Exelsys ABC Core demo account that Matt's going to run the Exelsys demo from when we get into that. So what we're looking at the moment is the dashboard of Learning Manager. We'll come on to the learning experience a bit later on, but this is what you would see when you log in as an administrator in Qintil. And this is a demo account, so some of the data in here isn't particularly great, but it gives you an idea of what the platform actually does. So on this dashboard, we're looking at an overview of the number of users, compliant users and non-compliant users in the organization, the number of courses that are available, a summary here, which would be populated in real life of all the data around courses started, completed, and lessons, and the amount of hours of learning that have been conducted inside your organization as well. And down here, we've got a record of learning activity over time and a record of compliance over time. And we'll talk about compliance later on, compliance being the required training that people have to do inside your organization and whether they've completed it or not. And that's quite a big part of what Qintil does. So on this dashboard, okay, sorry, Kate, is everybody else hear me? I can see that Kate doesn't hear me.
Yeah, I was just checking that, and Kate says no sound for Sam, and I'm just checking into it. But John is hearing you, so I think it's something unusual on Kate's setup. So okay. Please do continue, and I'll try and fix it in the background.
Fantastic. Okay. So just jumping back, so this you can't see what I'm doing with my hands here, but everything in Qintil is really easy point and click. So it's very easy to get to drill down into the information that you need. So these reports on this front page, for example, can be filtered. So you can just see information for specific offices and teams that you want to see very quickly. And you can do that with all of these. And obviously all of this data you can export very quickly as well. You can do that in other parts of the SIP system, but this is where we kind of put the sort of basic information front and center for you. So going into the organization settings, a lot of this is actually pulled through from the Exelsys integration. So things like the locations and the departments are pulled through from the Exelsys integration. So locations are quite obviously your offices and branches, wherever they may be, and departments or teams, your groups of people, and that's how we get courses to people by virtue of the department or team that they are a member of. So we can set up all the locations. If we don't pull them through from Exelsys, we can just add them by clicking a button here. We can set the time zone as well. And the same with the teams and departments, we can do the same thing. And an individual user in Qintil can be a member of up to 5 of these different departments. And that means that they can get different bundles of courses and different compliance requirements based on the kind of department that they're in, which is usually applicable to the job role that they're in as well. So you can see here there's one for all staff, which is courses that everybody has to do, and then there's different departments here based on job function. We've got some notification settings that you can turn on and off inside Qintil as well, and these enable you to change the email settings that you get from us, and those emails might be things around user completions, when people log in for the first time, when they complete mandatory courses or fail courses, and you can just turn these off if you don't want to get notified whenever that happens. But there's a full notification system built in, and you've got a little icon here as well where you can see those notifications too. Options to email activity reports. Compliance reminder settings. So whilst Exelsys will send out some emails, we send out emails as well, which remind users for their compliancy when they've got courses that are about to expire, and documents or policies and procedures that might not have been read. And all these emails get sent out from your organization, and they go with your logo on as well. So, and they've got calls to action with inside the emails. And all of these can be edited as well. So you can edit and change some of the text in here. So you can personalize those emails as they're sent out to your users, and you can change the frequency that they're sent out as well. Some little settings here about when users can reset courses. So you probably want, if you're wanting your users to do courses sort of every 12 months or 24 months, you can make it here so that they can access those courses before they expire or before the compliance expires for those, so they don't lose compliance. Options here for emailing certificates, and some little terminology things here as well about what you want to refer to people as in your organization. So if we jump over to users, now what we'll see shortly when we demo this from the Exelsys side is these users are automatically pulled through from Exelsys when they're created in Exelsys and assigned courses. And you can view quite a lot of information about the training records and completions in Exelsys. But with this is our user dashboard for Qintil, and this is where all of your users are presented. And you can filter that list again by locations and departments, and whether they're compliant or not, and what type of administration rights they have. You can see here there's little color codes whether they're compliant or not. And if I hover over an icon where it says they're not compliant, it tells me quickly which courses they still have to do. And we've got information here about activity levels and various other things as well. So we can see going into a user, it's very clear that this person's not compliant. And we've got access here to their achievements, their different courses. This actually brings me an achievements record for all of the training they've done inside their Qintil profile. So you can see here, these are courses here. If John had done some other courses and added them into Qintil, you'd see that information there, a complete record of the training courses he wanted to share with you. And I'll give you a little bit more information in that when I share when we share the learner experience later on. But we can see all the courses that are available here, and we can see a breakdown of the lessons inside for each course. And we've got options here to sort of to change the requirement settings and the number of attempts that they have. And when the courses are complete here, you'll be able to download certificates from this point as well. So all the users sit in here, and whilst in this instance we're obviously setting up users directly from Exelsys, there are options here to import users from other accounts as well. So you can do a batch upload with CSV, or you can sync it with your G Suite or Office 365 account as well. But in this instance, we're obviously syncing direct from Exelsys. Okay, I'm going to jump very quickly into courses. And so this is your course library. And this has all the online and classroom-based courses that are available to your organization. Qintil comes with 7 free courses, which are these basic kind of compliance courses around equality and diversity and fire safety, manual handling, GDPR, etc. And from here, there are different ways to add further courses to the organization as well. So we have an add course button here. And it gives me a couple of options. So I can create a new classroom course, or I can get a course from the course store. So if I just show you very quickly first how we create a classroom course. So in here, it creates a blank page where we can set up a classroom event. We can also embed video from online video channels like YouTube or Vimeo, and that can be embedded into the course as well. So we can set this up as a proper course. We can set prerequisites as well. So we can say that we can almost create a curriculum by saying that you have to have done one of these courses before you can complete this course. You can change the expiry period and the duration, and you can choose to issue a certificate for that course as well. And if I'm doing that, it pre-populates all the information in there for me. Also in here in this add course section, you'll be able to create the online or the video course, the virtual classroom course, which I spoke about earlier on. You'll be able to do that shortly as well. But the other way to get courses is just going into our course store. So on the Qintil course store, this shows you all of the courses by category that are available to purchase. So there's a whole heap of courses in here covering a load of different specialisms, settings. There's computer skills, business courses, hospitality, health and care courses, personal development, and there's ebooks as well on here as well. So some of these courses are free and other ones are purchasable. These prices that you see here are for single seat licenses, but there's an option to sort of get significant discounts from our providers when if you need to purchase bulk courses. But just to show you how this is going to work, I can see that there's some free COVID courses here, COVID-19 awareness courses here. So I'm just going to say that we want to do this, do some COVID-19 coronavirus awareness training for our staff. And this is a free course, which is great. So I can click on buy now. And I can choose how many seats I want. So let's say I want 10 seats for my staff. And because there's no payment required, I can just click on there and continue. You'll see there's a little button up here where you can choose to buy courses for yourself or for the organization you're representing. So you've got 2 options there when you're buying courses. Click continue. And that course is now back in my learning manager. So there's that course there with my 10 seats available. And that course is now available for me to assign to my users. And there are 2 ways to do that. In the assign to department section here, which is looking a little bit messy at the moment, but this is where we set up our access to our courses by groups, by departments. So you can see here that these courses are available. There's the course I just purchased, and I can make it required for everybody who's in that department. And I can do the same with all of these very quickly, just changing the requirement settings on each of these courses when we're ready to make them available to our users. So as soon as that happens, those courses are then assigned to organizations. So you can see here that's just been assigned to 6 people who are in those teams and departments. And then those courses are available to complete. But they're also available in Exelsys, and Matt's going to show you that in a minute because that information will now have pulled straight through into our Exelsys account. Before I do that, I'm just going to quickly just show you a couple of other points down here. We've got a feature called checks here, which enables us to create license requirements for things like visas, police checks, registrations, where we can ask our users to upload evidence of these things as well. And that can count as part of the compliance requirements for individual users. So we can require them to upload these documents as part of their compliance process. record expiry dates and issue dates, and choose which teams and departments we want them to be responsible for. And that requirement will then appear in an individual user record when they log in, and we'll also alert them by email when documents are about to expire. And there's a feature here for documents, which is to enable us to create libraries of documents, things like policies and procedures, and we can upload things like Word documents, PDFs, or we can just link to a URL. Create libraries and categories for those documents, and then make them available for certain teams and make them required for certain teams. So if we want our users to read our policies and procedures in the head office every year, we can ask them to do that, and they'll be alerted to do that, and those documents will be available for them to read and acknowledge when they log into Qintil. And finally, down here, there's just a little section for reports with various different report settings around system usage, completions, and course statistics and learner statistics. About 15 different reports in here. And all of them we can customize so that we can create filters for different offices and different courses. So we might just want to create a report like that, and then we can run it and save it as a report again. And then we can run that whenever we want as well. So those reports can now be sent and run automatically, and that report will then be run automatically and sent to me whenever I want it. So there's a load of reports in here which you can use in addition to the reports that you get in Exelsys. That is a very, very quick overview of the Qintil Learning Manager system. I'm going to get Matt now to show you how to use Qintil, how to use the Exelsys training module with Exelsys with Qintil. And then we'll come back and show you a bit of the learner experience inside Qintil as well.
Great stuff. Thank you, Sam. So I will jump back in and share my screen again, and then we can have a look at what that looks like when you are inside the Exelsys platform. So you should now see my screen, and I'm going to jump into a couple of interfaces. So there's the light user interface, which is what your typical member of staff would be using on a day-to-day basis. And I'm going to go into that in a little bit more detail shortly to show you how easy it is for a day-to-day user of the system. But also there are different levels of power user. So in terms of the person who's logged in here, got a chap called John Roberts. He is the director of HR and has access to absolutely everything. So what you'll see is the all-you-can-eat, every feature switched on version of Exelsys here. So within that, you can see John's favorites. So immediately we'll come to his favorites menu, and we can look at employee data, we can look at approvals, we can look at specifically John's employee pool and go into some details around that. And most of the action within the system happens within this human capital management tool here. So I'm just going to go into this main section, and we're going to start off by taking a look at a few of the key features here. Just bear with me, I will refresh because my screen is misbehaving. So we're just going to take a look at a couple of the main features, and then we're going to dive into the employees, the business structure, and the training management section. So here you'll see in human capital management everything that John has related to self-service of his own day-to-day activities. So we can either use this, or you can use the mobile app, the mobile light version, depending on what's more convenient to him. And then we can go into the workforce management to actually look in detail at the structure of the business and who's doing what. So in every section of the system and in each of the modules, you have overviews on the business in terms of numbers of employees and terminations and such like. So we have employee demographics, we have data around absence of management and such like. So you have high level charts of these sorts of sets of data, and then you can delve into more detail through the tabulated reports and the Power BI. We're going to jump into the details as well, and you can see here the number of active employees per year across the business, the split of genders, of age groups, so you can start making plans around succession management as folks get towards retirement age, and you can also see the number of personnel in each part of the business over here. So it's very easy just to get an immediate overview of what's going on. We have other tools as well, which are very much kind of point, click, drag and drop. So for example, here we have my team that I'm managing directly. and what kind of shifts they're running for the week. So I can do little copies of these shifts and I can drag them around and therefore set the agenda and the schedule for my team as a whole. And then it's very easy to just publish these shifts and that will be sent out to the users of the mobile app so that they can see when they're supposed to be in, how that plays against the absences and other time considerations across the team. So there are a number of powerful features in order to manage the day-to-day activity within the business. So I'm going to go back into the overall employees of the business. So this isn't my employees, this is all employees across the entire company. If I was a line manager, such as a Linda Martin, who's in the longer version of the demo that we give here, then Linda can only see people within her employee pool, and she can't see data across the entire business because that data is protected so that only people who should be able to see such data can see such data. So here are all of the employees across the business. Because I'm HR director, I can see the lot. And then you can see the organizational structure exactly as it was in Qintil. So you'll see the group, the UK organization, Ireland, etc. And then we can drill into those various different parts of the business and we can start to see who's in which parts of the organization. So here am I. So I set myself up earlier and we're going to set up a new user here. We're going to set up a user called Ben. Ben Thompson is someone that we want to have access to Qintil in order to do some learning courses online. So we're just going to create him here. We're going to give him a title that we're expecting to give him here, and then we're going to go straight across to the address. I'm going to put him in London for the fun of it. And also in terms of communication, we're going to have that at sales@Qintil.com. That's everything I need to do from that perspective, but it's also going to ask me to fill out what his function is. So if you were going through the recruitment module at the moment, then in the recruitment process, it wouldn't require me to assign him a position because he's only a candidate and not yet an employee. But I'm going to give him a position of IT consultant. I'm going to give him no end date at the moment, but I'm going to give him a permanent contract. I'm going to put him on the English standard working calendar. I'm going to give him an annual gross salary of 30,000, and we are going to leave it at that for the time being. This is primary, and then we're going to say OK. So we have onboarded Ben, so that was pretty easy. You can see Ben here. The other thing that we're going to need to give Ben is access to the light user interface. So I'm going to create a login for Ben here. You can see that I have a number of other features here when I right click on the on Ben's ID. So I can do a whole load of things, including sending emails and notifications and managing his record or terminating his employment. But I'm just going to go in here, I'm going to create the login, and I'm going to have HR mobile access. I'm going to have a mobile user. There are lots of different types, but the mobile user is a simple one, and use first name dot last name to log in. So now that we have done that, I will hand back to Sam. In fact, let me just check. What I am going to do is do one more assignment before we go, and that is in training and development. And I'm going to start by showing training courses. So the training courses that we have available at the moment are UK infection control and an Australian version of the awareness and prevention of coronavirus. So I'm going to add a new record here, and I'm going to select a infection control awareness UK. So, or in fact, no, I'm going to add the COVID UK version. So you can see the AU version, the UK version. I'm going to add that one. I'm going to add the appropriate information here, health and safety. And we're going to make it available for a month because we're hoping it's gone away in a month, obviously. And so Donald Trump tells me is the case. And then I can save that course here. And we've now got that course available to assign to people in the business. Now I can go down to managing course participants here. And I can assign people to the various courses. So as you'll see here, we've got the courses. We can choose who is assigned. We've got a few folks who are assigned to these ones. I'm going to go into the one that I just created. And I'm going to assign Ben Thompson. And rather than be requested, I'm going to say planned, and that is going to send an invitation to the Qintil system saying that I want Ben to be enrolled upon this course. And now Ben is enrolled. When I click the save button, he's going to get an invitation to the Qintil system because he hasn't yet been set up on the platform. So this is going to create the user on the Qintil platform, and it's going to create a request from Qintil to then invite Ben to log in and fulfill the courses or complete the courses that he's been asked to attend. So I'm going to click on there now. And then I am going to go finally to one other area here, which is our mobile app. So in the mobile app, just to give you a sense of what can be done and what information is available, you can see we've got Nicole Marku, who's one of our employees. We've got data around documents that have been uploaded for her, her pay slips, and a whole slew of other information around address, her absences, and how much more capacity she has to go on holiday and such like. Not that that's allowed at the moment. And then personal information and other things related to her role. You can see if we jump into the home section, any courses upon which she is enrolled. We've got her absence planner, so she can raise new absence requests in here, and that might be sick leave, study leave, holiday leave, etc., and what the status of those requests are. Information about how she interacts vis-a-vis her team, so you can see here other members of the team, and if I jump back through this calendar, you can start to see some of the other absences that were planned in, so you can see absence requests that were closed in purple, ones that are still open in yellow. And if we jump back into the team section here, you can also check any approvals that she needs to make, any appraisals that she needs to fill out. In work time, you can see her shift planner, so we can see what shifts have been assigned and also how this relates to other members of the team and how it relates to holidays that have been booked in. So you can see here that there's a holiday that's already been booked for next month, so we know to work around that. And also the app can be used as a login, log out for work. So clocking into the office in the morning, clocking out at night is something that can be done directly here. So we can say that it's time to check in, and that's going to start to capture my working hours. And that can be geolocated, which means that I can only log in if I am very much within the same area as the store or the office in which I work. You have a few other features here, which I won't go into now, around settings and preferences, but that gives you the general overview. So I'm now going to hand back over to Sam, and Sam's going to take you through what it looks like when you receive that Qintil ID and how you then attend the course. So I will cease sharing now and hand back to Sam.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, so here's that email. So I've got my email now, ABC Core, which is Exelsys, have invited me to join their Qintil account. And this has come from Alexander, who's the administrator at ABC Core. A little bit of information here on what Qintil is as well, just in case I'm not familiar with it. So I click on this link here. And this takes me to this page here. So this is, it's got the logo of the organization here. You've been invited to join on Qintil. Have I ever used Qintil before? Yes, I have. No, this is my first time. So if I've never used Qintil, I can just create my own sort of brand new account, and then I've got my own Qintil ID. I've already got a Qintil account though, so I'm just going to sort of connect my existing Qintil ID to ABC Cores. So I'm going to click on Yes, I have, and enter my existing Qintil ID. And I'm going to, because I'm an admin on that account as well, I'm just going to go straight to my learning. Okay, so this has taken me into my learner page in Qintil. And you can see here that I actually work for, I've got courses from a couple of organizations here. This is my other company that I work at as well. And I can see the courses that I got from ABC Core here as well. You can see I'm not compliant because I've got courses that I have to do, including that COVID course that we just added. So all of that information is there, nicely color coded, so that I've got some very clear instructions on what I have to do. And I can just click on these buttons to take me straight into the course. I've also got on my front page here my personal courses. So these are courses that maybe I've acquired myself through CourseStore. And I've got a list here of checks and licenses that I have to upload. This is for that other company that I'm working at as well. And that police check is there, and I can upload other documents there as well if I want to. So this is kind of like a dashboard for all of my learning and compliance wherever I work. And because I've been invited to join ABC Core now, I can get the learning from them as well. So on this page here, you can see at the top, I've got my courses here from ABC Core, and I've not started any of them, of course. You can go over here and see the courses that I have done with my other organization, and you can see the policies and required courses that I've done there, as well as my own personal courses. But this is the training I've got to do from ABC Core through Exelsys. And there's that COVID course there, look, which we just added to. So on here, I can see that there's a brief introduction to the course, and tells me what I'm going to learn by doing it. Also a breakdown of the lessons. It's a very short course, this, so there's just the one lesson. One of the cool things in Qintil is that we have the option to do course exemption requests. So let's say I've done a course similar to this previously. I can actually choose who to send my requests to and choose some existing evidence that I've already done that course from Qintil. Or indeed, I can create a whole new achievement and upload the evidence with it as well, including the time I spent on it, the certificate, who the provider was, and I can choose to share that with my employer so that they might actually say, well, actually, you've already done that this year, I'm not going to ask you to do it again. And that makes my life a lot easier as well and saves me a bit of time. But let's say I do want to kind of jump ahead and do this course. Or any of the other courses that I've got in here as well. So I've got my COVID courses. These are required courses. So these are courses that I have to do in order to be compliant with my organization. Then I've got recommended courses and voluntary courses. So these are listed in the sort of the order that I should work my way through them. And that's by virtue of the assigned to courses thing that we set up in Learning Manager earlier on. So just jumping into the course, click on Start. And that course opens up in a new window there and enables me to just jump straight in and start doing that course immediately. Now, all of these courses you can jump in and you can start doing, and you can click through, and also I can leave this whenever I want. And that then updates the progress for me inside Learning Manager, and also for my own recording here, and I can just resume and pick up where I left off whenever I want to. So I've got all my courses in here from all my different employers, and I've also got all of my achievements as well. So this is a complete list in my achievements folder of all of the different courses and training that I've done over the last few years since I started using Qintil. I've got all of my training from my previous employers or training that I've done outside of work, including a list of my certificates, which I can download as well. So all my certificates and all my CPD are in one place. And that means I don't have to keep it all in folders or files. And also it means I can share it with my employer whenever I want to as well. So I've got a complete record here of everything I've ever done in terms of learning and achievements throughout my entire career. It's a total sort of record of all of my CPD certificates and qualifications in one place. I've got an option here to add extra things as well. So if the stuff that's not in here, I can just add it and give it a category, choose a provider, upload some evidence, and I can also choose to hide that from my employer if I want to when I share it, if it's something I just want to keep for myself. But all of this helps an individual to build up a complete record of all of their training and all of their achievements throughout their career so that they're able to share it with their employer. And I've got an option here to share it directly as well. So I've got I can share using a secure link or share by email. And that then enables me just to share that with whomever I want whenever I need to share my achievements. And it means that when people join your organization, they can actually share a verified record of all of the training and all of the qualifications that they have in one place. Some little options here about my profile in Qintil as well. I can add multiple email addresses to it so that I can keep my work training and my personal training all accessible via multiple different logins. I can add an employment history here as well, which helps me match up my training and my CPD to my employment history, and I can link that with LinkedIn. And there's options here to connect with social logins as well. So what Qintil Qintil is, it's becoming a not just a place to get to do your learning from your employer, but it's a place to keep all of your certificates and achievements and a complete record of your CPD in one place throughout your career. So that's Qintil for learners. I'm going to hand back to Matt now, and I shall end my screen and give you back to Matt.
Excellent stuff. Thanks, Sam. So just one final element to cover off, which is just in the Exelsys system now. As John, I can go back in. I can check in on my employees. And of course, I'm going to jump back into Ben Thompson's identity here. So here's Ben Thompson as part of my employee records. And then within this, I have related information, including the training record. So I can see what it is that Ben has done and what he's attended. So he's been registered for these 2 courses, including the EPIC 256-hour Australian COVID course. And I can see that he's attended the ones that he's attended. So you get a full list of all the training courses that individuals have attended. And so you get a complete record in Exelsys, as you do in Qintil, and again, keeping the systems in sync so that it makes it easier to track these things between HR and training and professional development departments. So I can then go into the training management section again. So I'm going to go back into my human capital management. I'm going to go into my training and development module, and all of these modules can be switched on and off. So again, depending on who the user is, these can be available or not to make it much simpler to choose the features that you want. And within this section, I have a few options around, for example, my employee development plan. So this is where managers can report training requirements for the team and suggest what it is that individuals should be attending. And then somebody in the professional development learning departments can be responsible for assigning those people to the appropriate courses in the way that we showed you previously. There are also additional reports that you can pull out of the system, such as employee training records, to show for specific segments of the organization. So this is the UK Limited within a particular subset of the organization. And I can see members of the team who are either planned or who have already attended courses. So I prepared a couple from earlier on. We've also got training KPIs reports. So these tabulated reports are in between the demographic reports that I showed you earlier, the high-level dashboards, and the very deep BI, Power BI reports that can be pulled out of the system. But you have all of these tabulated reports as well, which can then be sliced and diced by pretty much any data in the system. So you can see here my my KPIs that I've set and how I either am or am not achieving those based on total time spent, on the number of training courses that have been attended by my team. And again, I can jump into Qintil and have a really deep dive into the level of compliance of my team by every single specialist subject that I need to review. So that finishes the session that we've got planned for today. It's a whistle-stop tour, but hopefully in about 40 minutes there, we've covered off everything that you'd need to know about how the 2 systems are connected and set up to talk to each other. So thank you very much for joining. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to switch off the recording and I'm going to open up the forum to everybody to ask any questions that you might have before we round up the session in 10 minutes. So thanks again, and please do share this across once we've sent out the link to any of your colleagues that you think might be interested. It is a recorded session, so hopefully that'll be a helpful point of reference for you as well.